Kuzu Zangpo and a very warm welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program. I'm Sonam Rinchen. Our top stories. His Majesty the King granted an audience to the Scouts and Cubs in Tempu at a commitment ceremony on Wednesday. The central monastic body, led by His Holiness the Khepo, arrived in Tempu for their summer residence from Punakha. And civil servants will see a 20% pay revision and another 20% as housing allowance. His Majesty the King granted an audience to the Scouts and Cubs in Tempu last Wednesday. The Scouts in Tempu had their commitment ceremony at the Najin Pellery Auditorium.
His Majesty the King was accompanied by Her Majesty the Gyaltsen. His Majesty told the Scouts that they should be mindful of three things.
Number one, y'all are the custodian of our Bhutanese identity. Y'all are the custodian of our national identity. Number two, y'all represent the future of our country, which means that if Bhutan is to be a strong country, y'all have to be strong. If we're going to have a beautiful future, to do well as a nation, y'all have to be capable. But the second thing, y'all represent our country's future. Now the third point, y'all are also the guardians of peace and stability and unity of Bhutan. We all must remain united. We have to ensure that our country is peaceful, and then we can achieve anything. And I have no doubt that within our lifetime, we will see unprecedented levels of growth, prosperity and harmony.
Over 1,500 children took an oath earlier in the day. They promised to serve their parents, elders and the Tsawasum. With this, they were inducted into the Scouts. Scouts from schools all over Tempu took part in the event. Their Majesties also interacted with the teachers who were present. Tenzin Rapke, PBS News.
The central monastic body, led by His Holiness the Khepo, arrived in Tempu for their summer residence from Puna Dewechenpe Phodrang on the 28th of this month.
Monks of the central monastic body, Venerable Levis, led by His Holiness the Khepo, arrived in Tempu for their summer residence from Puna Dewechenpe Phodrang today. En route, thousands of devotees lined on the roads to receive blessings from His Holiness the Khepo. Meanwhile, His Holiness the Jigme and the monk body will halt the night at the Tempu today as per the tradition. Tomorrow, the monk body will be escorted to the Tashichazong for its summer residence. Every year, the monk body spends the winter at the Puna Dewechenpe Phodrang in Punakha, moving to Tempu on the first day of the fourth Bhutanese month. The tradition of maintaining a summer and a winter residence dates back to the time of Shabrungnao Namgyal in the early 17th century. Compiled for Chunidema Digichorindoji, PBS News.
Meanwhile, His Holiness and his retinue of monks were received by His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Gyaltsen at the Linkana Palace. At the Linkana Palace, their Majesties offered traditional suja and desi. Members of the Parliament, led by the Prime Minister Tsering Tobge, received His Holiness the Khepo at the Tashichozong and received blessings from His Holiness. The monk body spends winter at the Puna Dewechenpe Phodrang in Punakha, moving to Tempu on the first day of 4th Bhutanese month annually. The much-awaited salary revision was finally presented to the National Assembly. From a long list of increase from different professionals, this study will focus on the raise specifically for the cabinet, parliamentarians and the constitutional post holders.
The maximum existing pay scale of the Prime Minister is over 85,000 Yultrum. With the Second Pay Commission's recommendation of 92%, it will go up to 165,000 Yultrum in a month. For the National Assembly Speaker and the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, it will increase up to 145,000 Yultrum from the existing 85,800 Yultrum a month. This is an increase of 69%. Meanwhile, Cabinet Ministers, Chairperson of the National Council and the Opposition Leader will see an increase of up to 132,000 Yultrum. The existing pay stands at 85,800 Yultrum in a month. The Commission also recommended 20% hike in salary for the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Deputy Chairperson of National Council and the members of the Parliament. As of now, the Deputy Speaker and the Deputy Chairperson are paid 69,300 Yultrum per month. With the revision, they will be paid over 83,000 Yultrum. While the members of the Parliament will see an increase up to 73,250 from the existing pay of 55,495 Yultrum. A 30% revision for the Chairperson of the Royal Civil Service Commission, Anti-Corruption Commission, the Chief Election Commissioner and the Auditor General were proposed. Subsequently, the Commission recommends 25% revision for the Commissioners. The Commission recommended restructuring the pay scale of the constitutional post holders of the judiciary. Meanwhile, the salary structure for other judiciary posts is recommended to be at par with the civil service. The pay scale of the members of the Privy Council is recommended to be revised by 25%, while its chairperson is equated to that of the cabinet ministers, that is an upward rise by 54%. The Attorney General's salary is expected to see a rise of 20% on the existing salary as recommended by the Pay Commission.
As pledged by the government, civil servants will see a 20% pay revision and another 20% housing allowance. The state-owned corporate bodies will see a rise of 20%. The local government leaders will receive the maximum rise of 36 to 40%.
A blanket of 20% salary revision has been recommended for all civil servants. This includes the Cabinet Secretary, the Government Secretaries. In addition to this, the Commission recommends another 20% housing allowance for all civil and public servants. This, however, does not include those occupying government houses. The pay structure for the corporate sector has been set with a difference of 15% from that of the civil servants. The corporations under the Finance Ministry will see a rise of 20% corporate allowance. The daily subsistence allowance for the civil servants will increase with a lump sum of 150 to 1,000 Yultrum. Along with an expected raise of 36 to 40%, the local government leaders are also expected to see a rise in the daily and travel allowances. Sharaf Zangmo for BBS News.
To solve the issue at home, should Bhutan suspend the expansion of diplomatic relations was one of the issues raised in the question hour session of the National Assembly last Friday.
The Lamgo Wancha MP questioned the Foreign Minister if it is right for a small country like Bhutan to suspend diplomatic relations.
Dajunolu, Chidelumda, Machurinchigi, the Sunshidina, Seshidi Besaudolu, Machuri Misisu, the Zumbe, Gehab, Zomlinemi Gehabtu, the Zomligi Chopotu, the Kara, Sajalachinu Zishuni, the Kungi Sajani Kachilong Mosawachin, the Dinalu Katibesunu Zawajin, Machu Nankugi, Tam Madiutu, same Masaringo, the Chiga Habda Chiga Dewada, Tulam Sab Dinidi, the Kakcha Beuje do the Shuni.
Responding to this, the Foreign Minister Rinzin Doshi clarified that the government did not make any such statement.
The Jigi Tole, the Dinalu, Loju Domaru Gui, Lu Ime, the Jigi Nesuldi, the Najregi Kingo Sessionilla, the Dinalu. The Dembachida, the Madim de Katuyoka, the Digaragi, the Kenseshnila, the Kolangachi, the Kosalemenu, the Majigi, Torangachigi, Shusapti, the Nationalu, Tulamdi, the Yama Tamzabe Yubigi, the Tulam, Gahab, Nopching Asumda, the Yubigi Tilam, the Nachigi Mip, Zodab Sumchibi to Janam Imbe, the Salar Men Sessionila. Chigi 틸럼디 데 개합 신내 신지가로 데 마바 ngol habbe te tamzabara te ngachigi te zodo te zombara te ngachigi te kaasati salara mi sishnila.
Lempo said over the last 5 years, the former government has established relations with 53 countries and it is too huge for a country like Bhutan. He added, before expanding diplomatic relations, pros and cons should be examined.
Inidi chungkuchi imde kage shila milo nutayu de kage shi imdalu te kichi minche tamnyenda be te lashabe te thisi te dilege thak te kaji gobinala te dilege thak te kaji begobina dinga idi hakuma succession.
While the Lamko Wansha MP said expansion in diplomatic relations will help in protecting countries' security, sovereignty and in receiving assistance for developmental activities.
Naturally, Gakabno regime Jugobaji, Chigakab Tunamgo, Chigakab Tunam regime Jugoba, Nana regime go, the annual tend to Gakab Garberu, Tabang Ajeta Madu Kanemi, the RSS Tuname, Mashaule tend to be that Seshi Beduzum Zedamajin and Nalepa, Keva Matongi Badalu, Nachi Gakabdi, the Tunam Gakab Naptunasum, the Chikacham Chigu Janetigu, the Jule Tendive, the Nachi Tajari Kachidu Zojin, the Digibe, Nachi Gakab, Chi Zomlinalu. Tulamluni, Major Toramluni, Dizume, Major Sunshop, the round Nivigi, Sajadu, the Shuni.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Sringtopge said, currently the government's priority is to improve the country's economy rather than diplomatic relations. Prime Minister, however, said the policy to stop the expansion of diplomatic relations is only a temporary measure.
Pshigakabgi Toram Bedola, Nachi Jungi, the Hamadab Shepdalu, the Pshigakabgi Toramdi. The Jobarat, the Nachegi, Tatuzumbe Bewachin, looked up at Tobnigi Gokabdu, Seshuni. Mangil di Tobe, Nacheli Borchetube Chimisuya, Rongachegi, Chimsa Gakab Jagar, Hemale Chamtoto Yumi, Koi Seshunila. Tangachegi, Sadrubgi Mangul, Chaji Chuchibgi Tondale, Nachegi, Mangul Laba Topmidi, Lejime Laki Digibe, Nachegi Gakabnalu, Tabdu Madiusu, the Seni Dulu, Mikpakewachin. Mitaka sing Naragi Hotele, that Noxa Nebe Tami.
Prime Minister added, it is important to expand diplomatic relations, but the government should review how relevant it is for the country. Sharab Zangmo for BBS News.
Lenchen Sringtopge held a bilateral meeting with the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, at the Hyderabad House in New Delhi last Tuesday. The meeting was attended by External Affairs Minister, Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, Foreign Secretary and other senior officials of the Government of India.
During the meeting, Lenchen conveyed the warm felicitations of His Majesty the King, His Majesty the Fourth Khepo, the government and the people of Bhutan on his appointment as the Prime Minister of India. The two leaders reviewed the bilateral relations and expressed satisfaction with the strong ties of friendship and cooperation that exist between the two countries. They agreed to build further on the existing ties and to also explore new areas of cooperation. Lenchen Sringtopge extended an invitation to Prime Minister Modi to visit Bhutan at his earliest convenience. The Prime Minister accepted the invitation and agreed to work out the details through diplomatic channels. While in India, Lenchen Sringtopge also paid a courtesy call on to the President of India, Pranab Mukherjee, later in the evening at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Tiki Chorindoji, BBS News.
The construction of the 540 megawatt Amumu hydropower project will continue, said the Economic Affairs Minister. This he said during the question hour session of the National Assembly.
The MPs from Phinsiling and Dofuchin Tading constituency questioned the Economic Affairs Minister on the status of Amumu hydropower project. MPs said the recent news of the project being shelved has left many people in dilemma.
Dimating Amumu reclamation project name Namsimi Pentonime, the Anibodolu, the Tingilimbogi, that the Tente Namgoto Sugala. The Gotuma Subajin, the Gotumis Suchi, two Subajin, the law, Atimchi Noginal Gotu Suchi, Susubasin, Legem Tani Mekajan, Mrs. Namsu Gotum de Yulatama. Call La Kachida Begoma de Yulan.
Lonigi, Sumgi Himalera, the Mrs. Sudachika, Tindel, Shipshibena Bebe, the Consulu. The Ponigi, the Koragi, Jipo, the Pasu, Jonigi Nawa Disoy Karana Bebe, the Kontato Yuringi Tenlu, Maumpagi Tenle, Koragi Saji Sula, Namsame Yoke Masuba, Tevera Lidi, the Teveodalu, Tato Barkapchi, Tato Nachigi, Hago Dalu, the Amochuki Legul, the Minanigi, the Tebe Yep Imbe, the Tigi, Kasechi, Lokdira, Sunkari Chana, Bachinamisami Legimonime.
Responding to the question, the Economic Affairs Minister said the construction is still in the plan. He said Amumu hydropower project is one of the most important projects and talks are underway with the government of India.
Lok mi legal chachap te jajung da te dujung ni gibe nyamdil gi legal in si shunil te debe bole te ngacheregi lok mi legal chabi ki kaplu mangil chu te ma jajung lebe te lendi gibe chapdo se shunil te debe bole te chikabe chirup gi thole nyamdil gi thole bekop dia te namesame khache se shuni te debe bole tato tachi judo zombere inla ngachi gi sunde tirchinbe tho thudigi bera amochu sunko she kuri gongri te anichu tato hal ludi gebigi te legal sum tebe ye se shunil tinga chigi tho thudigi bera ta sunde nani in se shuni te amochu gi teka hebdalu te tachi thumigi koragi te nalu shudozumbere in ngachi gi jungi honle te sa lenigi dentale te namesame chala lashachi ro debe shungi senai si shunila tinalu te ngachi gi dilu tho thudigi bera ngachi gi chenshu kedo se shunila.
Limpo said construction of Amumu hydropower project will be much easier to construct compared to other hydropower projects.
Gongi tekali hedi bedi berura te chabigi kaplu te nyungkube jonegi te legal chi me se shuni dinalu kependi te amochugi kependi kepel zora firm power singachigi tato tab madyodi lokshugi nalu tab madyodi nam ginlu in se shunila chu mibegi nalu nam gin nalu te ngachigi lokshugi te tenkedi man namesme babjodo se shunila digara run of the river imbaleten digibe the amochudi reservoir imbaleten digibe chu kak digibe nam ginlu ngachigi lokshugi digi namesme ngachilo pento se shunila te debe beule amochudi te ngachilo namesme khache se shuni te amochudi te datogi neche nalu be bodalu ngachigi charjinale ten tanta madapulera mi se shunila.
Limpo Nurbuanchu answered some of the queries. However, he did not respond as on when the construction of the project will truly begin. Sharab Zangmo for BBS News.
The members of the National Assembly agreed to continue the construction of the 55-kilometer Shinkar Gon highway in Hlinsi within the 11th five-year plan.
Some of the members said the construction of Shinkar Gon highway will bring economic benefits to the people of Hlinsi and also to the neighboring Dzongkhaks.
Bhutan Hlinsi Chinchi Jogob Dobchi Bawachin Halam Chuje Gadeji Gonimbe Demache Dredil Bewegi Kablo Hema Bhutan Limitang le Bedigi Mongar le Bedigi Gorgon Tele Hlinsi lo Henimbe Digi kilometer gi Teka Chichab Digi Tauda Halam Sumja Shipcho kilometer deji Honime Zunibe
Mongarlue kilometer Sumstambagi, the Lam Tunku Jui Sunila. The Ye Metsila, the Matse power project la, Machara Lokme Legul, Maizochi on you, the Lue Kepen, Penjorgi, the Lue Kepen Bombay, the Machel Finch Zonkadi, Tazurge Zonkachibe Lutsi Sunila. Ilfunga Kangel Bewachin, Ilfungi Kangeli, Jashi Shipshtambadi, Mi Jachile, Mi Shipshtambadi, Ilfungi Kangel, Tosho Chibe, the Beole Tendigipe, that the Lamdi Tip Tochi Bewachin, the Ilfungo Kangel Nalwe, Machi Se Sunime, the Zonka Desu, Shenda Genjebe, Danyambe, Josubigi, Rewa, Bomber Kedo, Sunila.
Tim the Gawa de Celera Mindu Sunila, Divinity, Tangarakatule Bewachin, that the Tangachi Missilu Pembigi, Tablamchi Imbe. Tilu ngachi sokange bero leshumbe zedibe tusam leshume shedibe ngaragi bewachin tilu te chaju nangupdi namesame khache shunela
te ngacheregi gerapchengi sago sanichi imbela kurte te ngacheregi tari naba te wangshugi jujingi jungsa gi sago phaimela te tigangi gonsa uje wangshugi Pojangdia Tatoe, te ngoma bera pha du didaji khabe linchi johang nalu ne cha cheto to rinshem bumbalo singi jonglo tansoe namisame te ngachiragi taship sugi beru ngachi dubigi mi sugi beru te jenigi gokap top doji baojin namisame te khaji namisame jani imbe.
The Minister of Works and Human Settlements said the highway is expected to reduce the travelling distance by around 100 km from Shinkar in Bhutan and Gorgan in Linse.
Da rangjin netang gi theka hyubdalu te hema chachi rangjin netang gi matu tubera te naksel henga gi khatule Egypt bedi gi bera te nawa nanu te inre nawa di te shule kacha bedanu te digadwe yasobina lejme hagomachu tiboda lamdinami sami di khachi cheube thome.
The Shinkar Gorgan highway construction has been proposed for a long time. However, it is said to have been stranded due to environmental concern. Ishingidup, PBS News.
Well, that is all we have for you this week. Join us again next week for yet another edition of Bhutan This Week. Until then, it's goodbye from me, and I am Sonam Rinchen.